All right. We're here with Gabriellah.
Hey.
Gabriellah, what's your last name again?
Wow.
Howard. Howard?
Howell.
Howell. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't remember people's last names here. And I feel like every
'Cause you don't care
podcast now
about
would
us?
start off with like Betsy Hafke. I didn't know
Yeah.
Betsy's name. Anyways.
It is hard to remember. There's a lot of us.
Yes. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no
We're
problem.
once again in my room. Used to be
My room.
your
Yeah.
room. Sweet. Cool. Thanks for talking to me.
Definitely.
What's the most difficult lesson that you've learned in your life?
Oh my gosh. That's a great question. I think just taking things as they are instead of always being like, oh, like, yeah, I see this is happening, and like red flags or
Yeah.
just like lessons that I need to learn
Mhm.
in general.
Can you speak
no.
up?
Yes. I just don't think I've like taken things how I should. I guess I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
like when something's like very obviously happening,
Mm-hmm.
like in relationships, in like friendships or anything, I will always wait until the hardest lesson has to be learned before realizing I should like give it up, and like it has always been what it was instead of like everything I've like made it out to be in my mind, if
Okay.
that makes sense. Does it? It's okay to say no.
No, it makes sense. What ways have you... Is there anything that brought that about? Any specific circumstances?
Like brought me just not taking hard lessons or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just really ignore red flags like
Yeah.
constantly. I mean, I like even when I like feel things in my gut, you know, like your intuition and things, I'm just like I disregard that because I don't really know why I do. I just always disregard, like don't trust myself in a lot of situations, and that's gotten me into a lot of trouble, unfortunately.
All right. We took a break to figure out the technical difficulties. Okay. I feel like I never establish the relationship I have with anybody before they get on the podcast. Like I have, it's like,
You just
all right,
jump in.
just jump in.
Hey,
Um,
I'm sorry, it is really quiet. I see what you're saying.
We are friends. Would you
Yes,
consider that?
definitely. I mean, granted, you are leaving,
Yes.
us, and that is terribly rude.
Yeah.
But yes, I would definitely consider us friends,
Friends, housemates.
housemates by choice.
Mm.
Wait, no, housemates by force.
The-
Friends
yeah,
by
by-
choice.
When I first met Gabriella, she introduced herself to me 3 separate times. As after, literally after we've texted.
We had talked a lot. I interviewed the man, and I still was
Yeah.
like, "Hi, I'm Gabriella. Hi."
After texting, and specifically moving into the room she moved out of.
No, literally, all of these things are very true. I was really embarrassed by the last time. I was like, I literally just like screamed in my head. I was like, "You idiot! He's gonna think you're stupid." And
No.
I wasn't wrong.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Do you find yourself being someone who is I guess self-deprecating?
Just hitting me with the hard ones, okay. I feel like I'm self-deprecating in a joking way most of the
Mhm,
time.
yeah.
Which, I mean, all jokes have some truth, but
You think that's true?
yeah.
Anyways,
I mean,
continue. Sorry.
I mean, in most regards, I think so.
Hmm.
But I don't. Yeah, I think I do self-deprecation mostly just to get a laugh, mostly out of myself, and other people are just like,
Yeah.
okay. But I honestly talk really highly about myself in my
Mhm.
head about like just Everything. I feel like I've grown a lot in that sense.
Yeah.
I think a small part of me from my past self is definitely in there and saying certain things, but I work to not believe them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important what you tell yourself.
Definitely.
Becomes how you view yourself. It's something my friend taught me. RC, he's my friend, and I used to work with him in Maine.
Okay.
And he taught me this lesson that, I mean, I guess I always thought about it, but I'd never really put it into words or thoughts.
What is it?
That exact. Like, hey, what you tell yourself is so important. How you tell yourself even if it's problems. Like I guess I made the comparison to, like, I was like, oh, I have my demons, and he's like, don't call them it's the way in which you put your own concerns or your own problems into perspective, and the way you tell yourself,
definitely,
or the way you talk to yourself, it puts the shading on everything, and everything that you can sort of, it puts like the shade of how you see your thoughts and how you view yourself and the perspective of other people. So super important.
Definitely. I feel like this is maybe kind of on par, but I've been thinking a lot about like shame and guilt and like not letting that like rule me as much as like just people in general do. Like shame and guilt that other people put onto you, and also like you do it a lot to yourself. And I feel like that helps fuel like self-deprecation and stuff, and I've been trying to stray away from it as much as possible, because like there's nothing to be ashamed about. Like everything's a learning opportunity. We're all growing and learning, and I mean, granted, some things are more embarrassing or like not a super awesome story to be telling, but that doesn't mean that like it's not like it's something that you should be like fully ashamed of and like be hiding yourself from. I feel like it's just something that happened, and to move like through it and past it as much as you can.
What's your perspective on growth?
On growth? As humans? I mean,
as yourself? I think I guess I mean more towards your own personal journey.
Growth. I feel like that's a big question. I feel like I see growth as so many different things. Like growing as just humans and how we interact with each other, how we interact with nature, how we interact with anything and everything, you know? I feel like we always have like a chance to grow. And but I feel like we're always so scared of changes and like what that really can do, and not even scared of like failing all the time. Like personally, I don't feel like I'm really scared of failing, because I'm very, very, me and failing are like best friends.
Nice,
I mean, you know, I think
that's amazing. I'm glad you have that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I think I'm really afraid of like succeeding and like seeing how I can grow in myself in those ways, and that's something I'm working through. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like growth is a hard thing, because it's like, I mean, I want to continuously grow and change as much as I can, but it's really hard. You want to get comfortable in certain things. You don't want to always be growing so much so that you can't like enjoy where you've gotten to, like any point that you've gotten to. But when I felt like I've grown a lot, and then I just like stop trying to work on myself, stop doing things. I'm like, I get to this plateau, and then I'm like unhappy again, and because I'm not doing anything for myself. And then it's like I need to get back onto that wave. So I think it comes and goes. It's hard to I don't think you should just go straight for like everything, you know, but I think that we need to take our breaks, enjoy where we're getting to.
How much of growth do you think, or how much of this, because your point of you kind of feel yourself stopping or like kind of plateauing, how much of that do you think is actual plateauing versus you thinking you're not good enough and not realizing how much work you've actually put in?
You're really hitting me with all these hard questions. Okay. I think, yeah, I mean, definitely. I feel like I'm really hard on myself. So, like, I probably am just being hard, and, like, I'm still growing and changing, but I'm just not appreciating where I'm growing, or just, like, how it's showing through. And I can probably do better at that, but at the same time, I feel like there is a lot of things that I have told myself and, like, journaled about that I want to, like, work on, and, like, in terms of, like, expanding and, like, growing my mind and, like, what I know and, like, what I want to be doing and, like, learning, especially after graduation. I wanted to, like, learn so much because I feel like I have a lot more time on my hands, but I, like, didn't do any of these things, and I'm like, okay, you're, like, not working on getting better, and then I'm upset about not doing these things. So it's like, you know, it's like that's it is a little bit of, like, being hard on myself because I'm, like, you know, not doing anything and then getting mad about it, but like I'm also not working towards it. So, like, I can see how it's kind of a little bit of both, you know.
And you mentioned failure of success. Would you be able to expand on that?
See, that's something I honestly saw that on Instagram. I
Look, I saw it on Instagram.
And it has to be true. No, honestly, I follow a lot of, like, spiritual things on Instagram because I'm like, I don't really like anybody's content. I just want to, like, get on, like, some pictures, and it's usually
the fast track to spiritualism.
Yes, Instagram.
Like enlightenment.
Absolutely. You're going to get your most spiritual healing up through Instagram.
Through Instagram. Look, there's words to live by. Put that on Instagram.
But no, when I saw it, I was like, that's so true because, like, I know I have a lot of potential, and I know that I, like, can do so much because I've seen myself do so much. I've seen myself grow and do amazing, like, things and achieve a lot. But then I, like, even though I've seen all that, I still have just not tried to achieve a whole bunch since, or, like, not even that I haven't been trying to achieve anything, but, like, I don't put in the same amount, like, of work that I know would get me better results because I'm like, well, what would happen then? Like, in work, I've done that, and I'm like, well, if I do this a really good job and finish this really quickly, like, I really don't want another project to be doing. So, like, you know, like, who knows what's going to happen after that? And, I mean, that's a kind of a silly example, but, like, in so many different ways that really applies. I'm like, I could be doing better in this, and this, but what would that really mean? And, like, I don't really think of it as in, like, oh, my God, I don't overanalyze it, but I do feel like I just, in the back of my mind, I'm always like, oh, what could happen, you know, and, like, what would I do next? But that's, like, the beauty of it, like, learning and growing in that way. And that's something that I need to embrace a little bit more. But it's, I mean, it comes and goes. Definitely.
For sure. I feel as if we're always chasing this. We're always chasing this sort of this being of perfection that doesn't exist.
Definitely.
And that's so frustrating.
Perfection is suffocating.
It's so, it's getting comfortable with being, I don't want to say subpar, but it almost feels that way in a sense. No, really, like, it's being comfortable with not being, like, with your flaws, and that's so, it's hard to do because you know how much there is to work on, you know how much there is to improve upon, and you see it, and, you know, if you're mindful of it, they're glaring at you like a sore thumb, and you're like, I could do so much better, like, I know I can. Definitely. And and you're also trying to balance a million other things in your life. Definitely. But you know you can do better, and it's frustrating to see yourself lack in certain areas that could improve your life, yet you're trying to juggle the rest of the areas you also know need the same amount of attention.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not easy. But who said life was?
That's true.
What's your perspective on fun? I've been thinking about fun recently. I mean, I have fun, but also fun to me is a lot of, I think I have fun in different ways. I have fun, like, this is fun to me. I'm like, I enjoy conversations like this. This is why I'm live like my life. You know,
this is why I live
like, we're all social creatures.
No, 100%.
And I need
meant to get into deep conversations.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I feel as if too much can cause, I guess, too much
conversation or too much fun.
No. Too much serious toned conversation and serious tone introspection can lead, at least me, and I notice it in myself, that leads to a lot of thoughts that I think are very informative, but also I think I can be difficult sometimes to kind of let loose a bit. So I just kind of want to know what your perspective is, and like how much of a role does like entertainment or fun or just like silliness plays in your life?
Well, I feel like you should definitely know I'm so silly.
Yeah.
I'm constantly telling jokes. I honestly won't shut the fuck up.
No, you're great. That's why I love talking to you, because you can have fun.
Thank you.
And I need to learn something from you.
I feel like you always crack them right back, so you're pretty fun. I feel like I would not talk to you if I didn't think you were fun and a good conversationalist. And I agree. I feel like deep conversations to me are fun, and like having more than like just such a surface level conversation with people. I hate that so much. Like it just feels so like fake to me.
Next question: what's your favorite color?
My favorite color. Like, okay.
Continue.
But I genuinely like the deep conversations, but I also love, like, even when I'm having a deep conversation, I will definitely like say a joke in there to lighten the mood, to make it better, especially like in our house meetings. I feel like I do that a lot. Like it's really, really serious and really intense, and I'm like, okay, but guys, do you want to hear one? Like, I'm always ready. But like fun to me is so subjective. Like I had somebody, honestly, it really genuinely hurt my soul, but somebody I was seeing that I was really interested in told me I was not fun. And that like really broke me for like months, like literal months after, because I was like,
it's not true.
Thank you. But like, I was just like, what does that even mean? Like, to me, we did a lot of fun activities, and it's who's to say like one thing's fun compared to another? Like, if that's your version of fun, go off. Like I maybe it's not for me, but like that's your prerogative, and I'm not going to stop you from that, you know? Like I think fun can be had in so many different ways, and like I don't know, I think about this a lot in terms of like friendships and trying to build new friendships, because like it's hard, especially as an adult, to build friends, because like what do you do with a new person? Like, it's not really a date, but it's kind of a date. Like, it's a friend date, you know? And what are you supposed to be doing there? Like, do you go just on a walk? Do you go to the movies? Do you go, like,
the dinner?
Like, what do you do? And it's like, it's really just like, it's really hard to know. You just base off of what your common interests are, I guess. And like, sometimes it can just be like walking around and getting to know somebody better. But I feel like it really just depends. Personally, I think talking to people is super fun. I think going out and doing like really chill events are fun. Just hanging out. I love quality time. It's really important to me. So like getting to experience that, no matter how much, like how it comes, I think is dope. Yeah,
I know we've talked about love languages before.
Yes.
Quality time. What is it about quality time that you find most appealing?
I feel like just the fact that somebody's choosing to spend that time to really dedicate to engaging with me and like getting to know me better. And like I said, I don't like surface level conversations, so like knowing that they actually care to know me deeper and want to spend that time with me, I think is really important. Granted, now that I'm saying this, it probably stems from some other issues, family issues, but
yeah, but what doesn't?
Literally, exactly. So I'm like, yeah, that is probably a little bit there,
Yeah.
but it's really important because I feel like it's like you can do anything in that, like in that time with each other, you can do so many different things, and like I could easily just like lay here chilling, not even really like we don't have to be talking all the time, like just enjoying the presence of somebody else. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard many. I mean, I'm sure you've heard it as well. Like being able to be comfortable in the silence with another person.
Yes,
It's
a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. You're not having to say anything. Just this mutual understanding that it's just nice to have another person, another consciousness there with you.
Yeah. I especially love it if I feel like you're on like the same wavelength in like most regards.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I think it just makes it that much more appealing.
It's funny how we view. I mean, communication is extremely important, but
100%.
at the same time, non-communication can also seem to bring about the same amount of intimacy. Or at least a type of intimacy that doesn't that you don't get with like verbal communication.
No,
just
definitely.
like the non-verbal communication. I think I probably view communication too much through the lens of like audible communication and speaking and conversation because it's so salient in everyone's lives.
Definitely.
But at the same time, the non-verbal communication that we take part in every day means a lot as well.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think that's pretty beautiful. What is your perspective? So like, I guess I should preface this. I was having this conversation with Betsy, the shout out to the first podcast.
Go back and listen if you haven't.
If you haven't listened already, what are you doing?
Literally.
The one person listening to this podcast. That's not me. No, we were talking about our views on stability and where we find ourselves in the attitude we have towards settling down and where. Actually, we were having this conversation. Betsy and I have had this conversation multiple times, but we're having with Carter and Baptiste and Betsy, our other housemates.
There's two Betsy's there. There's a club.
There's double Betsy. Anyways, I'm probably going on too long about the.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So I'm just asking the question: what is your perspective on stability, and what is stability to you?
Okay. That's a really good question. I don't know if I really have like a clear answer because I don't really feel like I've had anything super stable. Like even the most stable things I've had in my life, there's been a time there where it's been super unstable and I felt really unsupported. So that's hard. But I guess the most consistent would be like my mom, probably. Shout out Carrie.
We love Carrie.
Yes, we do. But like, sorry, the question was, what are my views on stability?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
How do you view stability? And you're like, what? I think there's different types of stability.
Definitely.
So I'm just trying to get your take.
I don't know. I feel like I see it as something that like people are just wanting to be there for you as much as they can in every way imaginable, and every way that they can physically do it, because it's not everybody can give you what you need, and also people can't always like, I don't know, people don't always know how to like give advice or like be there for you when, like, you're crying. Like, some people just can't deal with crying or something. Like, you know, like, that's hard. But if they can find the way that, like, they can be supportive, then I think, and showing up every time as much as they can when that happens, that, like, provides me some type of stability and, like, makes me feel supported. But that's a really good question because,
So
I mean, it means so many different things. Like, I mean, in terms of, like, housing and stuff like that, like, it's... I don't really
feel
know
as if you're getting at stability in relationships.
100%.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking about, like, housing and stuff, and it's like... I don't know if... Like, I mean, yes, if you have, like, a solid job and everything, like, you can be stable, but at the same time, like, things can change in the blink of an eye and be really unstable. I don't know. I feel like it's a really deep question, and I don't know if I have the answer for it right now.
No. Well, look, I brought you on because I thought you had the answers to everything.
I do.
You have that answer? No.
To life, existence.
To life.
Why we're here.
Shout out to the name of the podcast.
Existence.
You have a great laugh as well.
Thank you.
I've said that to you before, and I'll say it again.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I guess my thoughts on stability are how much there are so many different types of stabilities as we just said. So stability in housing, stability financially, stability in relationships, stability physically. There's so many different. But I think there's like this kind of sense of groundedness that one person can have, regardless of everything else they're trying to balance. And I don't know what the best, like, I don't know if you feel that way in your life, that you have this sense of groundedness, even though things are constantly changing. Because stability doesn't mean that everything's perfect or all your life problems are figured out, because that's literally impossible. Yeah. But I think there's this kind of sense of groundedness where you kind of have a grasp on who you are, what you're doing, ways that you're improving, that give rise to this sense of a foundation that you have in your life that keeps you level. Would you say that you have this sort of sense, or is this something that you're that you've had before, or kind of working towards, or?
Honestly, in the last 2 weeks after this little trip I took to New York, I don't know if I could say I feel super grounded at the moment.
Totally understand.
Like
shout out to your trip to New York, which is amazing.
It was amazing. It was so much fun.
Gab she rode across the country with her best friend.
From Oregon, all the way.
From Portland, Oregon to New York City.
Yep. 3 days there, and took 3 days to come back. But shout out to that incredible adventure. It was That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy you did that. I was so psyched for you to go.
Yeah, that was a great trip. Yeah. But I did feel super ungrounded during that trip. I felt like I took a lot of steps back in good ways, and like, I mean, not that seems super good, but like, it was good because I feel like it was really humbling. And it's going to allow for me to become more grounded with myself and grow a lot now that I'm back. Hopefully that growth starts tomorrow when I start my meditations again. But I feel like I've had that before. But at the same time, like, the ground is always shifting too, and you need to be able to find stability and groundedness constantly, and check in and make sure you have that.
No, for sure. I think that's a good point, is finding stability in the unstable parts of life.
Definitely.
I know for myself, it's hard for me. It's as counterintuitive as it may sound. It's hard for me to be stable when I'm in one position, like I'm like physically in one spot. Like for me, the I'm most comfortable and I feel the most grounded when I'm just moving.
I really feel that. Honestly, that's part of why I think I like to move so much.
What's the longest? How long have you been here again?
a little over a year, but I
Yeah.
mean, I moved rooms
Yeah.
still. Like, I mean, granted,
Just something different.
it's
Yeah.
so something different. Like, I need to be,
Yeah.
like, getting into new spaces. I feel like every
Mhm.
new place I go, it's, like, a fresh start, even if
Yeah.
it's not a super fresh start, you
Mhm.
know? Like,
Mhm.
I still get to build myself up, and as I build up a new space and environment for myself,
Mhm.
and I definitely understand why you would feel that way.
Mhm.
Granted, I applaud, and I'm a little jealous of you for moving and doing all this stuff because I've always wanted to do that, and I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. You're on the same path.
Hopefully.
You're taking road trips across the U.S. So that's a huge deal. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Something that not a lot of people in their lives get to do. As much as it might seem kind of either a commonplace or not that big of a deal, it is a big deal.
It is.
It's a big deal to go do that.
Especially as far as we did, I
yeah,
think. Like, people can easily do, like, small road trips
Exactly.
around the state or whatever,
Yeah.
but that was 40 hours of driving, not without
Mhm.
stops, sleeping, and everything else.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
And you have to consider how much confidence that gives you to go do other things. And that's
At first, I thought you said coffee that gives you. I was like,
and
sure.
you have to consider how much coffee that's going to take to do that, because I'm sure coffee was had.
100%. But
No,
confidence
for sure. Like, going to do that
Mhm.
puts your mind in the frame of you being able to do that again.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, for me personally, when I go out to go travel or do things that might seem small to me, but that in normal, I guess the traditional perspective of things seems like a big deal.
Mhm.
To me, it's commonplace because I have so much more confidence in myself to go do these things because I've done them before and I know I can figure it out. So
I love that for
so
you.
going to do that is just that another step in the direction of like continued self-confidence and self-growth.
Yeah, I definitely feel the most confident when I'm
Mhm.
traveling because,
Awesome.
like, especially to new places, because I really have to figure my shit out for myself.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard. Like,
Mhm.
it can be difficult. I took my first solo trip earlier this year,
Yeah.
and that was so much fun, but also, like, damn, I'm really out here by myself.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I love, like, knowing that I had that in me, and, like,
Yeah.
knowing that I can figure it out, do what I need to do,
Mhm.
and, like, still be okay.
Yeah. And then take
it's-
bigger leaps.
And definitely
Yeah.
take bigger leaps, because, like, that, I purposely did something small
Mhm.
so I can feel confident
Yeah.
enough to do something bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where did you go? I'm sorry.
I went to
first
Amsterdam.
your solo trip?
Yeah.
Your solo trip was to Amsterdam?
Yeah. I mean, I went...
Why did I thought you went with
I did. I went with Isabel,
Isabel.
but then she left early, so
okay.
I was there by myself for a few days.
Gotcha.
So I didn't do, like, I mean, it was solo for a decent amount of time, like 4 days.
Okay, sweet. Nice.
Yeah, so not
Nice.
too long.
That's a
but,
huge
like,
solo trip.
Also, yeah, I don't know any Dutch, so I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
So.
But now you do. You got
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Sure.
You know so
I
much
kn-
more than somebody who's never done it.
That's so true.
And so many people never do it.
Yeah.
So
I know to pack a lot less and pack for the weather.
there you
That's really important.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Learning that you don't need as much as you think you need. Huge lesson.
I definitely need as many outfit changes as I can possibly.
Yeah, well, some people have their degrees of comfort. Everyone has their degree of comfort.
Yeah.
What is what's your imagination like? I asked this to Alex.
Okay. In what way?
So the reason I asked this question is I think everybody's consciousness has a certain has this like certain overtone to it.
Okay.
I'm assuming. I know how my consciousness, I'm trying to decipher my own consciousness and see how other people's consciousnesses are how they act and how they perceive the world.
Okay.
And for me, when I think I relate this to I relate this heavily to art and meeting people and artists with a very creative and dense imagination that I don't have. Like, I don't possess that capability. Like, when I was asking Alice, like, to imagine something, just imagine like a house with a tree in the center. Like, for me, it's a very faint image, but some people have a very impressed image, like a very vivid image of what that looks like. Yeah. And for me, I just don't have that like I do in other ways of thought. So I'm just asking you, like, you have a very creative mind. I don't shake your head because I see this in your interior design, and how amazing you are at that. Like, I would literally pay you to do that professionally for me. If I had a place to live. But to have that in your head, like, what is that like? Maybe it's not like paper pen drawing imagination, but it's a type of imagination for you. So I'm just asking, how you view how you view your own imagination.
I don't really think about it like this, but I do, honestly.
Exactly, and that's why that's my point.
Yeah, I mean, I actually do draw like out my layout of my room before I go into a new space, because I want to picture how I want everything to look, where I want to put things, and I mean, I do guesstimate a lot and like try and imagine different places, but I like to just feel like how things would feel like if I was in that space, if I was standing in front of that house with the tree in front, like, what would that feeling be like? Like, yes, I can see that picture. Granted, it is also kind of faint for me, but it's also like, what I immediately thought of was the tree that is literally like right outside your window, because I staring.
Yeah, my windows are always closed, so I don't know what they
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what tree I'm talking about.
It's hot.
Okay, suck it up. Suck up your sweat.
I'm so sorry.
You can drink it.
You can drink it. Thanks for the tip. If you're thirsty, drink your own sweat.
Exactly. Stop complaining. But no, it's like this giant, really pretty tree, and I just always loved it, and like, I was thinking of like how I would feel to be seeing that again, you know? So I feel like a lot of my imagination is the feelings I'm experiencing or will experience or have experienced or anything like that. Or even not even just me, but like imagining it for other people. And like, I'm very, very empathetic. Some people would say far too much empathy. I have too much empathy, but
no, don't say that.
I'm super empathetic, so like, I love to feel as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I love to imagine in the same type of way of like, what would it feel like? I have this really cool, well, I think it's really cool, painting that I made of, like,
it is really cool.
Thank you. But it's like of a staircase up.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
A staircase up to like outer space, and that I made on a, like, what's it called? Like a cabinet door that I found at a rebuilding place, and I don't know really what like brought that image to my mind, but I think I was just like doing a lot of like introspection, doing so many meditations, and I was like, what would it be like to like go out into the universe, you know, like be able to like just walk into it and be fully submerged. And that's kind of like the feeling I was trying to embody in that painting. And I feel like that's just how my imagination works, of like feeling it the same. I want to feel that same kind of raw emotion as much as possible. I mean, granted, my room type of canvas is a little bit different, but
it's cultivating an environment that you want to step in, or
I want
that
to feel
other people
comfortable. Like I want to feel, and my room is very much 70s vibes.
Yeah,
like
it's sweet. It's so cool.
I love my room. Honestly, I cannot lie. I do love my room.
Yeah, it's sad. I'm sure it's sad to see the room I'm in is the room Gab used to be in, and my room is sad.
It's not sad. It's definitely different
It's
than
only sad.
how I had in my room.
It's only sad because
he planned to leave us from the get-go.
I was just making sure that I don't buy too much things or anything. It took me a month to buy a pillow, so.
Yeah.
I also have your...
I love it.
Gab wrote me it says Gab heart on a Haichu wrapper.
It's a very beautiful piece of art.
And it's the one piece of art I have hung up on this.
Yes.
Actually, the only two things I have hung up, it's that flashlight.
Wow. Is this room just like an
an
ode to me?
Shrine to you. This is
my shrine. Wow. I feel honored.
Yeah, you should be. Yeah. So I have this list of questions that I kind of.
I was wondering.
Yeah. Look, I'm trying to figure out this podcast just as much as everyone who goes on, and they're like, "What? Like, what is it? What are you gonna do? What is this? What's the theme?" I have no idea.
I love it.
Yeah.
You and I are way too similar. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, what environment do you find yourself most thriving in?
Most thriving?
Yeah, sort of relating it to you trying to foster environments that you feel comfortable and that you want to spend time in. What's the environment that you find yourself thriving in general, with relationships, with
the first thing that comes to mind is my room, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like I thrive the most. Honestly, I could not say in the current room that we're in, I did not feel like I was doing my absolute best. When I have felt the best, honestly, in the last 2 years since the pandemic began, have been in my last apartment where I had a space that I would meditate constantly, and in my current room where I have a space to meditate. I think it's literally just the meditation and the dedication that I have to that, and what that brings me afterwards. So when I really focus on that, I feel like I'm happier in my relationships with my friends, my family, my partners. Granted, I rarely have a partner, but
it's
you
out
know
there.
the vibes.
They're out there.
They're out there. Anyone?
I can feel it.
You can hit me up. My Instagram is Bree.
Bree. Shout out 4 E's.
And then
5 E's.
And then 5 E's in the cheese.
Bree cheese. 4 first E's. 5 second E's.
Yeah. You got it. Don't even worry.
Shout out. Nobody's listening to this podcast, so. So
if you do, you hit me up.
Hit me up. Some random guy just clicked on Spotify. He's like, "What is this?"
Maybe not you.
She's so cute. Just kidding.
I'm dead. But I feel like I'm thriving the most when I spend time dedicated to myself.
Yeah.
And dedicated to things that make me happy. What was your question?
No, that's amazing because meditation is something that's important to me, and I know is equally, if not more important to you. How long do you meditate for?
Honestly, I try to wake up at 6 a.m. and meditate for an hour, and I usually
an hour.
I love meditation. It's so good. It feels so good.
Wow.
I take longer mostly because the first few minutes take me a long time to get into it, and so then I'm mad at myself for taking so long. I'm you're really not meditating. If you said 20 minutes and you're doing 10 minutes of thinking and not really sitting and thinking, just letting it be whatever, I just wasted so much time. So usually once I get into it, I'll just sit there until I feel like I've done enough. And I also will burn an incense. And when I realize that the incense has stopped burning, I will usually stop. And it usually takes an hour.
Wow, that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
That is an incredible idea.
Yeah.
If I had the confidence not to burn my house down.
What?
I guess burn the room.
I mean, incense don't
because
burn.
you could smell it. You don't have to keep your eyes open
Yeah.
for a timer or a timer that goes off.
And it doesn't like actually burn. Like the fire goes away, so it's just like the smoke, and
Wow,
it's super calming. There's a lot
Yes.
of incense that are meant to help guide like with meditation and put you into certain moods. I always buy incense that are supposed to make me feel certain ways, and make sure to check in about what the incense means before I light it.
Yeah, no, that's such a good idea. I find myself, so I do 10 minutes a day.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's not.
That's a good. I mean, that's a good start.
It's a
but
good
I could
start.
not like.
No.
I'm thinking my mind is constantly racing. I can't.
Well, so it depends.
Yeah.
Some 10 minutes are like, that was a solid 10 minutes. Other 10 minutes, I feel as if I got nothing accomplished.
Yeah.
But I can't. I'm not gonna like judge myself. You know.
No.
I don't.
I mean,
Meditation
you should be
not
just happy
judgment.
that you're doing it. At least
Exactly.
trying it.
No, for
always.
sure. So I've been doing that for a while, maybe a year,
Nice.
close to at least, and something it has been indispensable to how much good meditation has brought to my life.
No, yeah, definitely.
And I have to meditate today after this.
Honestly, same.
But
We're gonna do a guided meditation after this.
Yeah. Lead us. And, no. So I wrote this note. I have this note. My life is just filled with notes app.
Love it.
It's just all. So I have this note, and this is my like gym bro-ness, getting in.
Gym bro.
I have like a note written. It's like I compare meditation to muscles.
Okay, can we just acknowledge your hat? What does it say? Mass Bro Shops.
Mass Bro Shops. It looks like a Bass Pro Shops.
Yes.
But it's a like a guy
Mass
with an arm
Bro.
flexing, and it says Mass Bro Shops. Shout out to my brother Brendan who bought me this for Christmas, and I wear it every day at the gym.
Love it. I love it.
So I wrote this note. Meditation is like working out.
Mm-hmm.
Mindfulness is a muscle you can grow and get stronger with progressive overload. You might hit a plateau at a certain level, and I feel like I've hit this like 10-minute plateau for a while now, and I want to progress further in to do longer meditations.
Yeah. See, first of all, I just would like to acknowledge that what you just said was literally a poem.
That's another thing, yeah.
That was a poem, and I hope you share when we do our poetry slam
Yes.
thing. Yes.
No, totally. Gab is a poet. And that's
I don't know about that one.
I want to finish this thought on meditation, and we'll
sorry.
get to poetry.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I had
don't.
a thought about what you were going to say.
No. It's super important to me because I was going to mention poetry. But yeah, I think meditation. Like I've been having this like call to do longer meditations, like do 20-minute like 10-minute double it. Like for me it's like 10 minutes is like it's like I can do 10 minutes. But you're right. Having your first bit of time, your thoughts are racing. You're just trying to kind of calm your mind, just kind of quiet your thoughts to even get in the mindset of what you're doing. And I hear about, these like literally like days, months, weeks, or week-long meditation retreats people do like
literally.
forever, and like that sounds super appealing to me. But
Carter's on a 3-day, I think it was 3-day meditation retreat.
Wow,
you should talk to her.
She's the next guest on the podcast. But yeah, no. So like that is something that I definitely need to start doing. I'll commit myself to a 20-minute meditation after this.
You should definitely. I was gonna say that to that point, I read something yet again on Instagram, but like I said, it's a lot of like spiritual and like mantras and stuff like that. But it was about like if you think you need to stop meditating after like however long. Meditate double that time, like do more.
Gotcha.
Instead of doing less, because you need it more than what you think. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I was just like, okay, whatever. But then I started actually doing it, and that's why I usually do longer meditations. Because I'm like, okay, like by like let's say I'm 10 minutes in and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this going to be done? And then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, just sit for longer.
Mhm.
Sit for longer, because you obviously want to be done, and like there's something you're not letting
Wow.
happen.
Yeah.
And when I do that, every time it feels so much more like amazing, and like I come out like just feeling so good, and like my body as a whole feels amazing.
Definitely.
So I feel like that you should try
No,
doing
totally.
that if you
Yeah.
ever-
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And like not getting like frustrated with myself for like feeling certain ways about meditating is also
Yeah.
a big deal. Like when you're just continually, I mean that's just another way of being identified with your own thoughts, is thinking you're not meditating long enough, or you're not doing it right, or whatever.
I definitely experience all these
Yeah.
things, and then I'm like, literally, just breathe.
Yeah.
Like that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just sitting here breathing,
Mhm.
and like, it is really hard to just silence your mind,
Mhm.
and like it takes a long time. But
Mhm.
once you get to that state, even if it's just for a few minutes, it'll feel like forever, and it'll feel so good.
Yeah.
And like that's why I try to wake up and do it every single day, because
Yeah.
it's so important, like to just start your day just so like fresh, open mind.
Yeah. No, that's true.
relaxed.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's such a great point. I would like to. It kind of varies for me. Usually, I might do it in the middle of the day.
Yeah, any time
do
of
it in
day
the
is
morning,
any
yeah.
time of day is a great time of day.
Yeah, no, literally any time. But it is a good idea to do it in the morning if you're gonna do it once.
Yeah.
If you're like, if I'm gonna do it one time in the morning, because it sets the tone for the rest of your day,
Definitely.
instead of
Definitely.
just going to sleep immediately after.
I feel like when I do it in the morning, though, I usually try to do it more, just because I'm like, okay, I said it, and then like I'm in this state of being so open to everything.
Yeah.
I could be open to like bad energy. So then I try to set it that way, so then I can continuously like change. But
Do you set an
obviously-
intention for your meditations?
Sometimes I mean I do different things for meditations. I do set intentions with the incense I'm burning, with the crystals I put around myself, with sometimes I'll pull a tarot card.
Yeah.
Carter was the one that told me about that, and
Yeah.
just seeing what like comes up and meditating on that. Sometimes I'll meditate on like how I've been feeling, or what I feel like needs to come up. I don't set necessarily any specific intentions.
Yeah, no, that's and that's totally fine. I've been something I've been doing is setting intentions, not coupled with meditation, but just in the morning.
Okay.
Just like it literally takes me like 15 seconds, 20
Yeah.
seconds to tell myself. I usually go the things I need to get done. Like it's always like go to the gym, go to school, and you go like whatever errands or whatever I need to get done, and then set an intention for how I want to be, how I want to express kind of my love and like gratitude for other people. So
that's a good. I like that.
yeah, so it's in my head. It's like I just want to be more kind, loving, positive, open, present, and try to create this energy for myself in order to kind of set the mood for the rest of the day. So I guess in a way it's not meditation, but it's just setting this intention in the morning to kind of frame the rest of the day.
I like that. I don't necessarily set intentions like that, but I have been practicing being more thankful and just showing gratitude in the same way that you're thinking of intentions. Like I'll be like, thank you for like on our way back and on our way to New York, I was like, thank you for keeping us safe.
Yeah.
Like so grateful to have Stephanie who's doing this entire trip with me. Grateful to have somewhere to stay.
Shout out to Stephanie.
Yeah. Shout out. But like just that, and like grateful, like having those things every single day is just like made me, I don't know, I just feel like it puts me in a better mood and like humbles me and makes sure, like helps me remind me that like it's not all about me and everything else is happening around me, and like I really need to be grateful for like what's happening. And I usually try to say 3 things, but like there's so many more than 3 things,
Yeah.
and if more comes up, I'm like, okay, I'll say this too. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
For sure. Yeah. No. That's awesome to have. Gratitude is the basis for happiness and contentment.
mhm,
I truly believe that it's such an integral part of
definitely.
of living a well lived life. The last thing I kind of want to touch on
Okay.
before we end this thing, you are a poet, and and it's awesome because I'm taking a poetry class at
Mhm.
PSU,
So
Portland
you're a
State.
poet too.
So I'm not a poet, but
Yes.
yeah, okay, okay,
Kisha was this great.
yeah, okay, wait. If I'm a poet, you you're most definitely a poet. So what has poetry brought to your life, and what is it about poetry that you're most drawn to, and why you started it?
I feel like it's brought. I don't know. I feel like it can express emotions. Sometimes I'll start a poem, and I don't even really understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just writing the things that are coming to my mind, and like after I'll be like, oh my gosh, like this, it like embodies exactly like what I needed to say, but I didn't know how to, even though I am the one saying it. You know, like it. I was honestly rereading a poem that I remembered I wrote in high school, like my senior year, and I was just like, it was really beautiful. I mean, it was a little corny, but like really beautiful, because it was just like so raw of like how I was like going into like this new space and time of going into college and like not knowing what was happening, and it just like I like reread it and I was like, I love that I did that then, because I really just went in so open heartedly and like was ready for new experiences. And I feel like poetry like gives me some sort of clarity and gives me like a different perspective. Like sometimes I'll write poems about people or things and that I've seen happening and try to like look at it from a different perspective, and that like just, I mean, obviously it's giving me a different perspective, and so like makes me really, I don't know, like aware, I guess, and like try to be like the best version of myself for people. I feel like it helps me just like grow in different ways. It's a form of journaling,
Definitely,
but in like a rhyming sense. And I feel like a lot of my poems are just like how I am and like trying to express that, but I'm also like trying to grow through those things. So it's like, yes, this is me, but it's not really me. But like, you know, like I don't know if that really makes sense.
It's like some part of you, some facet of you that
exactly.
feels these emotions or that thinks about these thoughts, and it's a way to express that.
Definitely.
Totally,
Get
yeah.
it out.
It is such a I think it can be such an intimate form of self-expression
100%.
that if you're not necessarily, especially if you're not necessarily comfortable with with being vulnerable in the classical sense, it gives you this medium to express yourself in a way that gives you a lot of leniency and freedom to just get your thoughts out there.
Definitely.
And share your emotions with other people or your thoughts, and maybe get a perspective across that you're not necessarily thinking of in normal conversation or
I saw this thing yet again on Instagram. Of someone, like, it was just like a stick figure drawing or whatever of like the person that is creating the art is not always the same person that's showing the art. And I was like, that's how I feel like in my poetry a lot of the times. It's like I'm creating this when I'm in this really like raw and like vulnerable state, but by the time I'm ready to share it, it's like that's not really me. But it might resonate with other people, and that's what I really look forward to in like my poetry. I would love to like share with people and have other people feel those same emotions and like like just feel like what I'm saying is healing them in some type of way.
Yeah.
I love to think of my poetry as that.
Yeah.
If I ever do choose to share it.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you to share it, but we'd all be psyched if you did. No, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been a great conversation. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, no, I'm super happy we got this done.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
I can't believe you're leaving us.
Yeah, me neither.
Sure.
Nah, you got it. I'm trying to just enjoy my last week here as much as I can.
I'm glad, as you should.
Just be present here before
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.